What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I have a good series of videos that I'm going to show you guys, and we're going to be looking at the House Ways and Means Committee. They did a hearing on June 4th, and they were talking about Social Security reform, Social Security increase, as well as cuts to Social Security. So they're talking about everything. We're going to be listening to the experts. We're also going to listen to the representatives talk about Social Security. Why is this important? It's important because they need to reform Social Security. It's also important because every representative, all these people that are talking, they are running for re-election, at least most of them. Some of them are not choosing to run for re-election, so they're not going to be representatives after January of next year, but most of them are running for re-election. And so we can hold these politicians accountable if they do not move forward or they don't want to move forward with Social Security reform. So today we're going to take a look and a listen to Representative Ferguson, and he is chairing the House Ways and Means, this subcommittee on Social Security. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And one more way you can support us is by joining our membership. Just click the join button below. You'll get customized emojis as well as custom badges. Okay, so we're going to get started with Representative Ferguson. He's first, and then we're going to take a look at Representative Larson and then all the other representatives that are going to be talking about Social Security, as well as the experts. There were 3 experts, and I want to hear what they have to say. I really like to focus on these experts because they have all the knowledge. They're bringing all the facts to the table, and then you have the representatives that will go back and forth, and depending on where they sit and who they align with, some of them are in favor of reforming Social Security. Some of them will say that they don't want to protect Social Security, but they don't really do anything to move forward any type of reform or an expansion of Social Security. And so you have different camps when it comes to the politicians, but you'll be able to see who's in favor and who's not. And I will bring it to your attention as well, just so you know some of these representatives that are just sitting there and saying, you know what, we don't really want to reform Social Security. Our way to reform Social Security is just by raising the full retirement age. So that's what we're going to focus on. One more thing I want to mention before we get started. This is a new kind of setup, okay? And so anytime I move from one place to the other, I have to get acclimated when it comes to the audio. Okay, audio is the hardest part. Video, no problem. I can do that. That's not an issue. But when it comes to audio, sometimes the audio sounds a little bit different. Might not sound as good. And that's just because this is a kitchen and it's not treated for audio, okay? Great audio. So I have to work with it and really fine tune it. So I had some people in the comment, or at least one person in the comments say, you know what, you sound different. It doesn't sound the same. It doesn't sound right. And that's probably because I'm trying to tune it up and make it sound a little bit better. But you guys can let me know. I love that. I love that feedback because I hear it and I try to make changes, but sometimes I don't know, it might not come through. So if you guys are having some issues or you think I sound a little weird or it doesn't sound like me, that's probably the reason why. But you can also let me know in the comments below if you are having some difficulties or if you think that it doesn't sound the way that it should. Okay, so let's go ahead. I want to play this. This is Representative Ferguson. Now, as I stated, he chairs this House Ways and Means subcommittee, and so he leads the whole committee. So he'll start off first, and then I'll do a separate video of Representative Larson. They both talk about 5 minutes, and then we'll get into some of the experts, listen to them, and then we'll hear the representative. So I'm going to break this up into, it's going to be multiple videos. The reason why I like to do that is because I don't want one representative to get away without us talking about what they're saying. Because sometimes you'll hear, let's say I play 2 or 3 different representatives talking about Social Security reform, and then I won't be able to really address each one separately. So I like to do that, and that's why I like to break the videos up. Okay, let's go ahead and play Representative Ferguson. Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. We will call the subcommittee hearing to order. I want to thank each of you for being here today. And especially want to thank our witnesses for being here today. We look forward to hearing from you. Last month, the Social Security Board of Trustees released its annual report on the fiscal status of Social Security programs. And it came as more unwelcome news for American seniors and workers. Like last year, both the trustees and the Congressional Budget Office project Social Security's retirement and survivors program will be unable to pay full benefits in less than a decade. What that means to the American people and those seniors that are near retirement or will be in retirement is that it could produce a benefit cut of somewhere between 21 and 25%. And the difference now is that now it's a year later and we are much closer to the insolvency. As we will hear today, the longer the wait, the harder the harder it's going to be to solve. It's clear that Social Security's cost growth is unsustainable. Program costs average 4.5% of GDP from 1994 to 2023 and are projected to grow rapidly to nearly 6% of GDP by 2034 as baby boomers continue to reach retirement age. Simply put, more people are and will be collecting Social Security for longer periods of time. And we are looking at a situation where we have fewer workers, a trend that is this trend is projected to continue for decades. To add insult to injury, President Biden's recent budget does nothing to address the pending exhaustion of the trust fund. And to make what matters worse, the cumulative effect is that it actually hurts Social Security's funding stream by billions of dollars over the next decade. On top of that, the Social Security Administration has done everything it can to push out rules and other policy changes that will result in tens of billions of dollars of new and unpaid for program costs that will only accelerate the trust fund exhaustion. Social Security is a vitally important part of every single American's life and retirement. So it's important that we don't downplay how bad the situation really is. To tell the American people that the most recent trustees report is good news because the projections push back insolvency by a few months is misleading and simply misses the point. These programs are in dire trouble, and sugarcoating the problem instead of seeking bipartisan solutions only puts seniors and workers at greater risk. The American people rightfully expect and deserve that we find a way to work together to save and strengthen this program. This starts here with an honest assessment of the program's finances and a sincere discussion of the size of the problem we need to solve. And I invite my colleagues here today to join in that discussion and have a very robust debate on what we need to do moving forward.
Okay, so that was Representative Ferguson. Now, he said a few things I want to go over. So the 21 to 25% cut to Social Security benefits, that will happen, and he said less than a decade. The new projection it would be about 11 years, and instead of, he's saying less than a decade, so he's saying like 9 years, I would imagine. So yes, that is something that will happen. We don't know. The experts are saying it could be 2035, it could be 2033. They're just giving us a projection at this point, but we do know there will be a cut. And we've heard that cut could be 21 to 25%. So that was the first thing he talked about. He also talked about the cost of Social Security. Now, he was comparing it to GDP. Now, understand this, and this is something that is not, lawmakers they do us a disjustice because they don't give us all the information. So when it comes to the cost of Social Security, we know that comes from the payroll contribution. That's where the money's coming from, and then some from the trust fund. It's not coming from the general fund. We're not running up our national debt by, Social Security is not doing that. Our national defense is doing that, but Social Security is not doing that. It's separate. The funds are separate, okay? Lawmakers don't tell us that a lot, and they should be telling us that all the time because the fact that they're not telling us that, you have some people that think, oh, it's all together. All the money is just in one basket, and we're just putting out money to Social Security, and we're putting out money here. And so when he's quoting this 4% of GDP, and it could be up to 6% of GDP in 2034, that is not impacting our national debt. Okay, so I want to make that clear. And he also talked about the workforce. Okay, our workforce is shrinking. I would say, and I talked about this before, and I did get called out on this when it comes to our workforce, we have more people working now than ever before. However, when we're looking at the fact, when we're comparing the workers to people who are receiving benefits, that is shrinking. So you have right now three workers for every one person that's receiving Social Security benefits. In the past, we had, and when Social Security first started, it was like 40 or 45 workers for every one person receiving Social Security benefits. And so you can see over time that is decreasing, the amount of people that are working compared to the amount of people who are receiving Social Security benefits. And that's because we have more people who are 65 plus now. And that population is growing, and because that population is growing, those people are receiving Social Security benefits. And so that's something else that needs to be addressed. And then he also talked about saving and strengthening the program. So I don't know exactly what he means by that. And this is one of the things when these lawmakers don't really come out and tell you what they mean. So saving and strengthening, what do you mean? When you say strengthen, do you mean actually expanding Social Security? And if you mean expanding, why aren't you talking about expanding Social Security? I've listened to Representative Ferguson before. I know kind of his views when it comes to Social Security. He's one that will talk about raising the full retirement age. He doesn't talk about an increase for Social Security benefits. And so I don't anticipate that's what he's talking about there when it comes to strengthening the program. I think he's just talking about we need to spend less. That way we can strengthen the program over time so the program will last longer. That's what I think he's talking about there. So we'll have to see. He's going to ask some questions of the experts later on, so we'll have to listen to what he has to say when it comes to that. But all in all, when it comes to Representative Ferguson, one thing he is at least addressing the issue that Social Security could be cut in 9 to 11 years if nothing is done. And so that is at least good. He's at least saying we need to have some type of a bipartisan bill. We need to move forward with something bipartisan in order to reform Social Security. So that is good. He wants to do something, but what does he really want to do? That's the question. How does he want to reform Social Security? And that's always the issue. That's always the issue. Because you will have some lawmakers that say, yes, we need to do something, but what do they want to do? And sometimes they might say, well, yes, let's reform Social Security now. And if they're talking about raising the full retirement age, that's a cut to Social Security benefits. So now we're going to see cuts earlier than that 9 to 11 years if they start doing things like that. So that's what we don't want. We want them to expand Social Security. We want them to face the reality of we're going to need to raise the cap on people making over $400,000, or we're going to need to raise that payroll contribution across the board. And so people, everyone working will have to contribute a little bit more. That's what's going to happen. So one or the other. We can't talk about cutting Social Security like some of these lawmakers want to talk about. But I want to know what you guys think. So what do you think about Representative Ferguson? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.